There are moments when you are not running from God, but you are not resting in Him either. You're still praying, still believing, still showing up in quiet faith. Yet inside, something feels constantly alert, as if your soul never fully sits down. It's not panic, it's not collapse. It's a quiet tension that lives beneath the surface, the kind that doesn't shout but never really sleeps. You move through your days doing what needs to be done. You carry responsibilities, you carry faith, and you carry an unspoken pressure to stay strong, even when no one is watching. You trust God, but your body stays tense. You believe He is near, but your thoughts keep circling. You know the promises, yet rest feels like something reserved for later. And maybe that's what wears you down the most. Not fear itself, but the constant readiness. The feeling that if you relax, something might fall apart. So you stay guarded, spiritually faithful, but emotionally braced, believing yet never fully exhaling. You don't say it out loud, but deep down you wonder, when is it safe to stop holding everything together? When can I finally rest, without guilt, without explanation? This isn't about weak faith. It's about a soul that has been strong for a long time. If you've learned how to endure but forgotten how to rest, if you've stayed faithful while carrying invisible weight, if peace feels real in theory but distant in practice, stay here. This moment is not asking you to fix anything. It's not pushing you to be better or stronger. It's gently inviting you to come under something, not effort, but covering. There's a kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't touch. You wake up, you function, you smile when needed, but something inside still feels worn. It's the fatigue of carrying faith without relief, of trusting God while your heart stays tense, of praying regularly, yet feeling like the weight never fully lifts. You may not call it fear, but it lingers. A low, steady anxiety that doesn't explode it just stays. You don't panic. You endure. Sometimes it shows up as restlessness. Your body relaxes, but your mind keeps scanning. Other times it feels like emotional numbness. Not sadness, just distance. You believe God hears you. You believe He cares. But the answers don't seem to come in the form you hoped for. So you keep going. You keep faith alive through discipline, through routine, through sheer commitment. And quietly, you wonder why trusting God still feels heavy. Maybe you're afraid to rest because you've been the strong one for so long. Maybe letting go feels risky. Maybe slowing down feels like losing control. You don't say it, but deep inside there's a question forming. Why am I still carrying this alone if God is with me? This isn't rebellion. This isn't doubt that walks away. It's faith that stays, even when it's tired. It's the ache of believing without relief, the weariness of praying without emotional release, the silent strain of holding it together while waiting for peace to arrive. If any of this feels familiar, you're not failing spiritually. You're naming something real. There are seasons when God feels quiet, not distant in belief but silent in experience. You still believe He is there. You still hold on to faith, yet His presence feels muted, as if the noise inside you is louder than His voice. And that silence can be unsettling, because silence easily turns into questions. Did I do something wrong? Did I miss something? Am I being ignored? We're rarely taught what to do when God doesn't respond the way we expect. So we assume the silence means absence, or disappointment, or distance. But God's silence is not abandonment, and it is not punishment. Often it is the space where formation happens. Not everything God does feels active. Not every work of God comes with reassurance. Some of His deepest movements happen beneath awareness, where faith is no longer fueled by emotion, but by trust. Silence does not mean you've been left behind. It means you're being held in a way that doesn't demand reaction. There are moments when God quiets the noise, not to confuse you, but to keep you from running on adrenaline alone. You are not being tested for endurance. You are not being graded on performance. This silence is not asking you to push harder. It's asking you to stop interpreting everything as failure. God is not withholding Himself. He is steady, even when unseen, present, even when unspoken. And sometimes, the silence is not an empty space, but a shelter, a place where nothing needs to be proven, where faith is allowed to breathe. This is where Psalm 91 doesn't arrive with answers. It arrives with presence. Not as a command to feel better, not as a lesson to understand, but as a place to stand when you're tired of standing alone. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Not visits, not passes through, dwells. To dwell means you're allowed to stay. It means you don't have to explain why you're exhausted. You don't have to justify your need for rest. You simply remain. The shadow in this psalm isn't darkness, it's closeness. It's what forms when something greater covers what's beneath it. You don't create the shadow. You don't earn it. You step into it. And in that shadow, the psalm doesn't promise that fear disappears. It promises that fear is no longer faced alone. God doesn't pull you forward here. He positions himself over you. Not to rush your healing, not to pressure your faith, but to let your nervous, watchful soul finally stop scanning the horizon. Psalm 91 doesn't shout reassurance. It speaks quietly, like someone standing close enough that they don't need to raise their voice. You are not asked to fix your thoughts. You are not asked to feel strong. You are invited to rest under something steady. This psalm becomes a shelter you don't have to build, a covering you don't have to maintain, a presence that holds when your strength runs thin. Here, rest is not a reward. It's a response to being covered. Take a slow breath, not a deep one, just an easy one. Let your shoulders soften a little. Let your jaw unclench. You don't need to hold yourself together right now. You are not being watched. You are being covered. There is no instruction here. No expectation to feel something specific. Just an invitation to pause beneath what is steady. If your thoughts are still moving, that's okay. You don't have to chase them away. You don't have to correct them. Simply notice that you are not alone with them. Imagine standing in shade on a warm day. Nothing dramatic happens. The sun doesn't disappear. You just feel less exposed. That's the kind of rest this moment offers. You don't have to solve tomorrow. You don't have to replay yesterday. Right now, you're allowed to be held without effort. Let the psalm breathe around you. Let the silence stay gentle. If your body feels restless, don't judge it. Rest doesn't always arrive as calm. Sometimes it arrives as permission. Permission to stop bracing. Permission to stop scanning. Permission to stop preparing for impact. You are under covering, even if you don't feel it yet. You are held, even if your mind still wanders. Stay here for a few seconds longer. There's nothing else you need to do. As this moment gently settles, there's no need to rush away from it. Nothing here needs to be concluded. Nothing needs to be resolved all at once. Psalm 91 does not promise that every fear will vanish overnight. It offers something quieter, a place to remain when life doesn't slow down on its own. Rest under the shadow of the Almighty is not an escape from reality. It's a way of staying present without being overwhelmed. You don't have to carry this day by yourself. You don't have to face the night with tightened muscles and guarded thoughts. Covering doesn't mean the world stops being demanding. It means you are no longer exposed while walking through it. If this time met you softly, let it stay with you. Not as a feeling you try to preserve, but as a posture you return to. There will be other moments when the tension comes back, other days when rest feels distant again. That doesn't mean you've lost your place. The shelter remains. You are allowed to come back to it, again and again, without explanation. These psalms are not meant to be consumed quickly. They are meant to walk beside you, one quiet step at a time. So when the noise rises, when the weight returns, remember this space, not as something you mastered, but as somewhere you belong. If this moment accompanied you, stay close. We'll continue walking through these psalms together, slowly, faithfully under the same steady shadow.